morning. How is everybody? Morning, Lisa.
Morning.
So how are we doing out there? I'm going to see who's going to join us this morning.
Well,
I did put a post on the 2 different pages, so hopefully everybody will make it over to the speaker page.
Yes. I don't know about you, but it's cold here.
I actually haven't looked. Is it cold outside? It was so nice yesterday.
I don't know. I just know that they're like at negative something somewhere else, and if we say we're cold here, we're going to get in trouble. We're all the way down to 53 degrees.
I don't think they're going to like that too well.
I had to put a hoodie on yesterday.
Yeah, it's like so. We've had 3 wonderful days in the mid 60s. So sorry, you guys out in the Midwest and the East Coast. But you're welcome to come out and join us. Vegas is a great place to come. A lot of times I think people come and they think we're going to be like 70 and 80, but it's not quite that warm. You can't really get in the pool or something like that. But it is nice just to be outside with just a lightweight jacket and not feel like you're a polar bear. All up. So let's see. Do we have anybody saying hello yet this morning?
Not according to the information.
Don't see anybody yet. Now, sometimes I know they can be watching, they can be on, but not checked in, right?
Right.
Because I'm always surprised when we're finished at the end to see how many it shows we're watching, and yet we just saw the names of several. So they must have to do a little check-in, like, whatever, I'm here or like or something.
Yeah, you have to start watching. I don't remember what the mechanics of it is, and it could be that we're having challenges because of the snowstorms and things like that. I don't know what's going on around everywhere. I know that Kansas was supposed to have some tip weather there, but we can go ahead and talk, and as people come in, they'll be able to watch the
Kansas was having some storms. I didn't even look.
No, they're not supposed to have storms, but they are supposed to have extremely cold weather. I don't know if you looked at the news, but it was coming from the top down through Chicago, and there's this. They were calling a cold vortex that was coming down and was even going to give people in Florida the possibility of snow.
Oh my gosh!
Yes. So some weird weather.
In the Chicago area for 10 months of our life. And I remember it's like, always be careful what you say never. So I do not use the word never in my vocabulary anymore. Because I remember specifically saying the one place I would never move would be Chicago.
Yeah.
We didn't wind up in Chicago, and it was just so gray and so darn cold. We were there August through the winter, and then we moved back. I think we left like in May, something like that, May or June maybe. But I mean, it's a great place. I love downtown Chicago. It's such a cool place to visit. We made some great friends there. One of my just really great friend, Susie Larson, lived right next door to me. So here we had the 2 Larson families, and I tell you, she was my salvation during that time. She was just such a great friend and such a great neighbor. I'm just so blessed. And we do keep in touch. She's my friend that I don't know if you recall, but in the book, I talked about my friend Susie, who later in her life decided to become a doctor. She'd always wanted to be one and was always pretty much told that her job, and I shared it in the book. She gave me permission, so I think it's okay if I share it here.
It looks like we've got 3 viewers who have showed up.
Oh, we have somebody on? Okay, good. So she basically was told that her job, she's very, very smart and did really well in school and those things. And, her parents were proud of her for that. But the bottom underlying message of everything was, your job is to get married and have a husband support you. She was really ingrained in her that she shouldn't. It wasn't her job to go be a doctor. That wasn't the appropriate thing for a woman. And but she later in her life, after 50, went went back to school and became a doctor and has her own practice. And I'm just so proud of her. It's so cool. And
so Pamela says, good morning.
Hi, Pamela. Good morning. Love having somebody checking in with us today. That's awesome. So we may, and those are the stories that I love. And that would be something. So let's talk a minute, Lisa, about the Dear Delinda thing. And then we're going to expand on it a little bit. But why don't you talk about that?
Well, one of the things that we're starting for the show and for other things is that you can write in and to Dear Delinda and ask her any question you want to. Now, that doesn't mean that she feels that she's the guru of all information, but it does mean that she has a lot of contacts and that she can ask the answers from all of the experts that we have within the network of Fun Fearless Females and all the networks that she enjoys herself. Hi, Kathy. And so the other expansion or the idea that we have is if you have some business tips that you would like to have us share on Dear Delinda, then please write in and share your wisdom as well. So we'll be doing a lot of discussing of questions and other information, but the whole point of everything that we're doing is to bring everybody's wisdom into one pool, and Delinda's the focus for that. So back to you.
So guys, send me some questions or some tips. What if you could tell, it's kind of one of those things where if you could just tell everybody one thing, like your best business tip or one thing that you've discovered in life that made all the difference, what would it be? So you could share that with me, and then I can share with others. And, I could even invite you to come on and share that with us live, so, and if you would like to be on and join Lisa and I on, I would love to know who that is. Not everybody's comfortable doing that. And if that's part of your growth for the year that you need to expand that in your life, we could help you with that. So this is a very great non-judgmental. You can try out things on this. So
hopefully it's non-judgmental because we're pretty crazy here.
Say that again. I'm sorry, Lisa. What?
I said I hope it's non-judgmental because we're pretty crazy here.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So yeah. Hey, Kathy. Yeah, we were just talking about that. It was pretty cold there in Kansas City. It's like, oh my gosh. I'm so glad I'm not there. I'm so sorry. All right, so we are gonna. Lisa was just talking to you about the Dear Delinda thing, so that is great. Also, I want to remind you to be watching because on Friday I am going to start sharing a little love, and you'll see I'll be posting on that. So just be watching on all three of the places on the Fun Fearless Female group page, my personal page, and the speaker page. Ways that I would just love to share some love with you in the month of February. So you'll be seeing that on Friday. I'll be posting that. So we're talking about, before we started this, okay. So have you ever had a bad hair day? Last week it was, something about, what was the makeup thing last week? I can't even remember now.
Me neither.
So today,
I said me either.
Oh, yeah. Like crazy. So, and I wish Donna on the road was on because she gave a statistic one time that the average person has X number of bad hair days, and it takes out a couple of years of your life for as many bad hair days. And like, you know what? Some days the hair just doesn't do.
Yep.
So if you haven't had a bad hair day, that's where so for the last week, I'm just saying, the last week has been a bad hair week. And part of it is my own fault because I had my stylist take me a little shorter and it did not do what I thought it was going to do. You see, I thought it was going to do. She's so wonderful. She always does whatever I ask her to. So, all right. Y'all really wanted to know that, right? I figured part of this is let me just get really real with you because I have my same weird issues like most everybody has stuff, right? Oh, gosh. So we're talking about abundance. And let me see. What was our question? So do you believe that you deserve abundance? That is my question to you. That wasn't a question that you asked me. So I think that this is a question that many, many women deal with, and we talked some about it last week. And I want to go to a different place this week than we did last week. So over these next few weeks and months, I'm going to be talking about abundance, and that's what I really would love some of your comments and some of your questions. So Lisa, you were sharing with me something yesterday that you heard someone say. Do you
So you're talking about when I was explaining some of my financial goals to one of my friends?
Oh yes, yeah.
Okay. So
okay?
yes, I was in a casual discussion with a family member, and I was discussing the goals for my publishing company, and I had set a pretty steep goal for a 10-year goal, and the person remarked to me that they thought that seeking for riches would be something that might corrupt me, and I was like, it's a prevalent attitude that asking for riches, or we had discussed praying for riches, was something that was taboo. And I think the conversation was going that we were talking about cultural influences and family influences on us that make it so that it's hard for us to seek these goals, especially as women. I mean, the research that I had done previous to this show was that it was something that women deal with a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think you're right. Whether it's, and I think it's a combination. I mean, it's certainly a cultural thing. It's always been assumed, and it's always been just taken for granted that it's okay for a man to make a good living, a man to provide for his family. But then when it comes to women, that's not always the case. And there are many women out there that are the breadwinners. They're single moms who are providing for their families. And, why would God want any different for you as a woman than for a man who's doing the same thing, supporting his family and all that? But for some reason, we always think it's okay for the man, but just because culturally, and again, and I'm from the South, as y'all know, and it was very much, your job in life really was to get married and have a husband support you. Just like I was talking about my friend Susie, she wasn't even from the South, but that was the prevalent mindset. So when women are out there working and supporting helping to support their families, most of the time, I mean, the statistics are that it takes 2 incomes in a family, to provide for the family in today's society. And so why do we allow those prior mindsets to continue to influence us?
Yeah. Well, my curiosity would be, what has your audience experienced in terms of their, when they talk about their financial goals with their families and friends, do they ever meet that type of resistance? Maybe that not as extreme, but do they meet people who are kind of downplaying their goals to reach high? And the minute we start to reach for the cookie on top of the refrigerator, if somebody's smacking our hand, we tend to not want to reach again. And
yeah, and I think that and Mary Kay always had a saying, which I always loved. She said, reach for the moon, and if you don't make it, you'll still land up in the stars. But if you're not reaching that goal, you'll never even make it off the earth. It's like we need to expand ourselves, because the truth is, God has given us so many gifts and so many talents. And why would he give them to us if he wanted us to hold back? He didn't give them to us just to sit idle and do nothing. I mean, there's a couple of instances in the New Testament where Jesus talks about, giving the talents. If he's going to give you in that particular scenario, he's talking about, it was money talents. And, one of them went and buried it in the ground. And he said, why did you do that? At least put it out there and get me some interest back. I'm adding to the story. Okay. Yeah. But the one that he gave the most went out and made the most with it. So when we're not making the most of it, we're discounting God. I mean, I really believe that. He does not want us to sit and be idle or not use the gifts or I think in Nelson Mandela, in one of his famous speeches, talks about who are you not to shine. It's that same concept. We're so afraid that our light is going to reflect on other people, and we want to hold back because maybe we're going to make them feel bad, or maybe they,
right.
We don't want to make them jealous or whatever. But the truth is, who are we not to shine? Why shouldn't you use everything at your disposal to have abundance? And in abundance, and that goes back to, we talked just briefly last week about that. What does abundance even mean? What does abundance mean to you?
Yeah. By the way, Luana says hi.
Hey, Luana! Are you here in Vegas, or are you out traveling? Luana's on a big travel tour this year. She's going to be in and out of Vegas. Yeah, she's got some exciting things going on. You're so precious. I hope I get to see you soon.
Yeah. Well, and abundance isn't always wealth, but I do find that we find barriers to any time that we're trying to seek more, or to have abundance in our life. So.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned last week that for you, health, abundance is
mm-hmm.
and anyone who has health challenges, abundance as far as in your physical body and your health is one of the things that you seek. Several of people in our group, and they were sharing their word of the year, chose the word joy, and they want an abundance of joy. They want more joy in their life. I don't know where they were coming from in their last couple of years, but we have seasons in our lives when things are going on, and they wouldn't be what we would call our best years, right? But we can still have joy. The Lord can give us joy through all circumstances. So thinking to you, each one of you who may be listening and stuff, what is it that you want? What is the abundance that you want? And so it could be from a health standpoint, an abundance of joy. Maybe peace is what you're seeking. Maybe you just really need some peace. And when we seek those things, why would it be any different to ask the Lord and talk to the Lord about that? Lord, I want more of your peace. When it comes to wealth, and I think that when we talk about wealth, and when we talk about stuff, the things of life, that's where we get kind of stuck, because it's like that's where we feel like we're wrong to ask for those things. But I would submit to you that why not just turn your mind a little bit, and when you're talking to the Lord about this stuff, say, Lord, I want all that you have for me, whatever that means. If it is, if it is wealth, if it is, a new house, the things, the stuff of life, if the Lord has that for you, if he wants to give that to you, then what is the harm? None, in my opinion, but what is the harm in saying, okay, Lord, I'm open. Whatever blessings you want from me, I am so willing to take it. I'm going to be grateful, and I'm going to share, because the Lord gives us more. The Lord gives us abundance, so we have more to share. Y'all, we can't share if we don't have anything. You can't help the missionaries if you are barely paying your rent. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that God wants us to be in a scarcity mindset, because he owns everything. What was it? The cattle on 1,000 hills, or whatever that is in the Old Testament, talks about that. He has everything is his, and he is the giver of all good gifts. Scripture tells us that. So if he has more that he wants for you, why wouldn't you want it? Why wouldn't you want to embrace everything that God has for you, all of the blessings, all of the wealth, all of the whatever it is? And and that's a little different than saying, okay, so Lord, I really want, and it's not bad. I'm not even saying that this is bad to ask for this, but it's not like you're asking Santa Claus, this is what I want. I want a white Mercedes, blah, blah, blah. And I'd like a 5,000 square foot house, or whatever. I think that if there's reasons for that, and I think it's okay. But what I'm even more than that is, maybe what you want is not even as much as what God wants to give you. And I have the verse. I sound good. So here's the verse I've been talking about for a couple of times. And it's Ephesians 3:20. Now to him, that is God, the Father, Jesus, now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we can ask or imagine, according to his power that is worked within us. Okay, so we have a God who can give us more than we can even think or imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's pretty amazing. Another one of the versions says, now to him who is able to do far more abundantly than all we can ask or think, according to his power at work within us. So I like that translation because I love the word abundantly. So he can do far more abundantly than we can think or imagine. So when you find yourself, and if someone says something to you like, well, I think if you're praying for things, that's sinful, is going to lead you down the wrong road or whatever, and say, well, you know what? Money buys choices, and I can't give what I don't have. And if God is calling you to be a giver, if he wants you to give of your time, then what do you need? You just need time. So then maybe that means arranging your schedule and doing things differently so you have time to give to others. Maybe there's a cause that you want, a volunteer kind of thing that you want to do. Does that make sense, everybody?
Yeah, and I talked to you about this statistic. By 2020, women are expected to control over $22 trillion in wealth. And, I was discussing with you about the fact that it hit me in one of your stories that we don't have influence in certain spheres unless we have resources. And I would, like to have influence in terms of Christianity and our values and things like that within those social spheres. I think, if women are going to hold that much wealth and influence, and it's growing and increasing, then I think we need to reach to be part of that influencing party so that, our values are still held.
Absolutely. And again, I think when you travel in different circles as your wealth, or again, for lack of a better word,
resources.
As you go up, as you go up in your income or up in your success level, the people that your sphere of influence increases and your circles get bigger, so you can make more of a difference.
Right.
When we're at home, if you're a mom at home, your main circle of influence is your children and your family. And then, of course, that continues to stay forever. But when they're home with you every day, that's a different level. And then, we have our churches and maybe the other committees or things that you're on. And then as you get, if you're work outside the home or in the home, whichever, your business takes you to another level. And as you get more success, that keeps changing. So like you say, Lisa, when your publishing company reaches all those heights, the amount of influence that you're going to have and the ability to shine, the ability to share the love of Christ, the ability to share your resources just keeps getting greater and greater. But if we hold ourselves back saying, oh, I shouldn't have this, or, it's wrong to ask for this. Well, no, it's not. If you're, and I love the story, I'll look this up and be more precise. Where it says in the scripture, it says, who, if their child asks them for bread, will give them a stone? Our Father is not going to just give you nothing when you're asking him for your provision. And we need to stop the worrying and stop being anxious about things and just go into this mindset of he loves you and he has abundance for you in many areas. And he has a purpose for where you are and where he wants to take you. But until we can take and appreciate where we are, we're not going to go anywhere. We're just not going to. And Paul talks about that. He says, I've learned to be content in all circumstances. He says, I've had a lot and I've had little, but I've learned to be content. And that doesn't mean not growing. It just means, let's be appreciative. Let's be grateful. Let's take what God's given to us now and then to open ourselves. So, okay, Lord, I'll just tell you, I will take whatever blessings God has for me. He has all these, whatever it looks like. Because what could be better than that, right?
Well, and I would think that the mindset of abundance is not putting limitations on God's ability to bless us. In other words, in our relationships, whether in our health. Like one of the things that I did when I got, improved my health was I opened my mind to the fact that God could bring abundance in that area. And doing that improved my health. So obviously I was holding back God's blessings for myself in my own mindset. There's, like you said, there's so much that we can't even imagine. If you open yourself up to the unimaginable, then you can accomplish things that are unimaginable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it never is about what God can do, because he can do all things, but it is, we sort of have this little box of our life, and we're really comfortable right here. And part of it, I think, if we allow ourselves to think about it, the fear comes in. Most all the time is fear. What are other people going to think? Maybe they're not going to like me anymore. What if I can't handle the success? I mean, I saw this in Mary Kay a lot. Women who they would get right to the edge of becoming a director. And I know in their heart, that's what they wanted. They wanted the more, and they would get so close. And then I think they just would get afraid. Well, what if I don't know how to handle it? And what if I don't know how to, directors have more responsibilities within the group, right? So, well, maybe, then I'll have to speak. So I'm not going to become a director, because then I might have to speak someplace, right? So just don't worry about all the what ifs. And
Lindsay Andrews said, yes, I do. Good morning. So.
Good morning, Lindsay. Nice to have you with us. Yeah, I wonder if the cold and wintry things is affecting people, getting on it. Like you say, it could be the whole email. I mean, not email, but
and Luana, and we online. Have lots of reactions too. We're getting close to our time, but just before you say your closing thing, I wanted to say that one of the cool things about being in the network that we're in is the women that that I'm surrounding myself with in your network. They have accomplished great things, and that inspires me to quit holding back my throttle, to open it up and to allow myself to accomplish like the other women. Like I see Luana and I see Kathy Weaver and all these other, it's too long a list to list everybody, but it's so inspiring to see women who are allowing that abundance to be in their life, and to
absolutely
and accomplish.
Yeah, and that's why it is so important for us to surround ourselves, with the people that maybe are either, that are an inspiration. I mean, that's just a great way of saying it. You watch them, and we always want to be there to help others, but we also need to look at how can we individually grow and get better and learn from each other. And if somebody's doing something really well, I want to know how they're doing it. Again, I certainly don't have all the answers, but I do know how to surround myself with really awesome people.
Yeah.
And that's what we all need to do. Get to know somebody. If there's somebody out there that you really admire and you're watching them and it's like, what is it that they're doing, that they're just having such great success? So call them up, send them a message and say, I would love to buy you a cup of coffee. I would just love to be in your space and just talk with you. And in most cases, they will do it. It might take a little calendar, back and forth. But, ask people if you have someone that you want to learn from. Because most of the people I know would be happy to do that.
Yeah. Luana says fear is a liar. I like
absolutely. That. That's right, Luana. That is absolutely right. So I guess you guys, it is time. Wow, the time always. I always say this, right?
Goes by fast.
So this week, think about abundance. And my question to you would be, what do you believe about abundance? Do you believe that you deserve it? And if you don't think you do, why not? Because where are you getting those negative messages? Because once you realize where they're coming from, you can get rid of them and replace them. And always, if you go back to the Word of God, it will, there are so many places. I was looking up a bunch of them last night for some stuff, to be sharing with y'all over this next time. And when you really start believing that God has abundance for you in all of these areas, your life will change. You will start attracting that abundance. That abundance in your areas will come to you because you're believing it's possible. We hold ourselves back, nobody else. And it's not that God can't give it, because he can give everything. So, all right, you guys, remember that life is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice. So choose wisely, choose abundance, and choose what God says about you and not what you say about you. All right. Have a great week. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.